Now, one of the ways we often summarize the Marshallian demand curves is not so much in terms of derivatives, but in terms of elasticities. Okay? And in particular, I'm going to talk about some various elasticities. So one of the things I'll often talk about is what you might call epsilon II. That is the elasticity of the consumption of good I with respect to the price of good I, which measures the percentage change in I divided by the percentage change in PI, okay, which is just equal to, in my example here, partial XI M partial PI times PI over XI. Okay, that's the way we're going to measure the elasticity, is we're going to look at the price derivative multiplied by PI over XI, which you can think of, those of you who like kind of differentials, as partial XI M over XI divided by partial PI, now PI over PI, which is the kind of ratio of percentage change. This is the change in XI divided by its quantity, so that's the percentage. Same I've done for price. Okay? This is the way we're going to measure elasticities. Often economists will just call this epsilon I. Right? People say, what's the elasticity of demand for gasoline? People say the elasticity of demand for gasoline is 0.12, or minus 0.12, they really should say. If they say 0.12, they usually mean minus 0.12. Okay, that's the other thing. People often, shorthand, will say positive even though they're really thinking of it as negative. But anyway, when somebody says the price elasticity, they mean the own price elasticity. Okay? There's also what we might call cross-price elasticity. Which is epsilon ij equals pj partial xi m partial pj divided by xi. So when I write epsilon ij, I mean the elasticity of I with respect to the price of j. How much does a 1% increase in the price of j reduce or increase the consumption of good I? We often make distinctions epsilon ij greater than 0. What do we usually say in that case? When a rise in the price of good j increases the consumption of good I. We have a term for this? Substitutes. X, I, and j are substitutes. Epsilon ij less than 0, I and j are complements. And we'll talk a lot about substitutes and complements. That's the language that we use in economics. Whether we're in, sometimes people do it in terms of Marshallian, sometimes they don't. We'll come back to that later. Any questions of people? There's one final set of elasticities you can talk about, which is epsilon I, or I'll call it A to I, which is the income elasticity of demand I, which is partial xi partial m times m over xi. And that measures how does the consumption of good I respond to a change in income.